Hello, 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 everyone. We are so excited to be back again this evening. You know, y'all, we always look forward to our Friday nights with Girlfriends Chit Chat because we chatted up everything life and business. And we are excited and elated to have this phenomenal woman, Miss Tina Wells, with us tonight because we're going to dive deep and get to know her business, and what things she has been doing. So we are excited to talk to her. And with no further ado, my name is Amira Bay. I am the host of Girlfriends Chit Chat, as well as my co-host, Miss Leslie Thomas at LT. Look, y'all, we can't play that game tonight with Miss Leslie tonight, with She Promotes Network.
Yes,
We're gonna do that tonight. So, and for no further ado, I want to introduce you all to Miss Tina Wells. She is a business strategist, advisor, and author, recognized by Fast Company's 100 Most Creative People in Business, Essence 40 Under 40, and more. For over 2 decades, she's led Buzz Marketing Group, an agency she founded at the age of 16, with clients like Dell, the Oprah Winfrey Network, Kroger, Apple, PG, Johnson & Johnson, and American Eagle. Tina has contacted with her network of 30,000 bud spotters and 7,000 mom spotters, all influential millennials and passionate end consumers. Now, this woman right here has done some phenomenal things. I don't even think she remember. Do I even do all of that stuff? Since 2018, Tina has also been leading Elevation Tribe, a community and quarterly publication she created to help women launch, grow, and lead their businesses with a focus on women of color. Tina is also the author of 7 books, including the best-selling tween fiction series, Mackenzie Blue, and soon to launch spinoff series, The Z Files. She's working on a new middle grade book series that will be published by Random House in summer 2021 called Honest June. She also authored the marketing handbook, Chasing Youth Culture and Getting It Right in 2011. Tina's multimedia content ventures serving entrepreneurs, tweens, and culturists with authentic representation falls under RLVNT Media. With no further ado, let me introduce you to this phenomenal woman.
And phenomenal she is. Oh my God.
You're doing a lot.
I'm really not that much. Not anymore. Not as much as I used to.
She said that stuff I used to do. So what are you doing now? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I closed the agency, Buzz Marketing Group. And first of all, Amira and Leslie, thank you for having me. I'm so happy. It's a great way to spend a Friday night. So thank you.
Yes.
So I did run my millennial marketing agency for over almost 24 years. But now I'm focused on relevant media. And so I get to write middle grade books all day, and it's fun, So in December, the Z Files debuted in Target, and super excited to have Target as our exclusive partner. And the second book in the series came out earlier this month. Just today, I got a cover proof to proof the cover for the third book that's coming in June. And then Honest June is coming later this year. And so it's just great. It's great to be in, that space. And then Elevation Tribe. There's lots going on there. I just launched a course called the Elevation Approach to really teach women, my formula for launching and growing a business. And so it's just been fun. I've had fun making stuff, my own stuff, where I spent years, kind of helping to market the stuff other people made. So that's why I tell you, I think it's a lot less work now. It's a different kind of work that I get to do now.
Yes. Do you find that you're enjoying it more now, that you're kind of you're in the moment, everything that you've had in your mind, probably since 16, just everything you had thought, now you have it actually in the present, how does that feel? Because I'm like, man, I want to get to that stage. I feel like now I have so much going on that I'm ready to get to the place where I can sit in it and enjoy it. It's almost like you cooking the meal, right? And you finally get to the table and finally eat with everyone else. That's kind of how it feels to me.
Yeah, it's a very different feeling, because I think when I was leading the agency, I felt this stress that it was all on me. And what's so great about this stage is just being in partnership with so many amazing people. And, we're doing, bigger, I'm getting to do bigger things. And the reality is I couldn't do any of it without a great team, without great partners. And so whether it's my partners at Target or my partners at Ingram and West Margin Press or my co-writer Steph, it's just, I have the best team ever. And so I think that's what really allows me to thrive in this stage, is just in every area that I'm working, I get to work with people I really adore and respect and who do such brilliant work. And so that just feels great. So yeah, there are moments when I get a little overwhelmed, like now I'm like, oh wait, Steph and I have a book due on Monday. I'm moving. I need to do an edit this weekend, but it's like, it's good. It's fun work, So I'm like, we're going to get it done, but it's a lot.
I think that's what a lot of us look forward to, is the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
We kind of step back from the hustle and bustle, and you actually focused on you for a change. Because like you said, you marketed everyone else, but you weren't marketing you and the things you enjoyed doing. And
I think it's interesting because when I wrote the Elevation Approach course last fall, and one of the phases, so it's like a 4-phase approach to how I approach business. So it starts with preparation, which is all the stuff we're used to, right? Like legal issues, is this business going to make money? Then inspiration, which is really understanding your customer. And then there's this phase I created called recreation, which is actually where you take a step back. And I found that that's so important. And then transformation, which is like finishing it. But I don't think many of us take that recreation stage or phase. I didn't take it for so long. And I felt like I was always launching something. And I don't know if you all relate to this, but I feel like a few years ago, we were in this place in business where it was like, hustle hard, go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And I think now so many people are talking about how important it is to take an intentional pause or, just reflect. And I also think all of us kind of being home last year also kind of helped us all take a breather. But I think we're all focused on working much more intentionally, and doing work that we love.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I'm actually in that phase now. And I know a lot of women said that. I feel like last year was my opportunity to brainstorm, to put it down on paper. And this was this is my time to birth it. And I even had to admit, I was so overwhelmed for a minute, I had to stop. And I've literally kind of just been off grid because I have so many things swirling in my head about where I want to go and what direction I want to take my business. And then I've been given some new tasks, some new opportunities that kind of threw that for a loop. And I'm like, well, should I stay on that path? Should I incorporate this? And for me, the biggest challenge has been, because you have a lot of things going on. I'm like, how do I incorporate all of it without feeling like I'm missing something or I'm going to miss the mark on a certain something?
Yeah, I think one of the things I've done throughout my career, even though you think I'm doing a lot of things, I really do pick a lane, right? And so you think about, for 24 years, I was in that millennial marketing lane, right? We weren't boomer experts. I did a little Gen Z at the end because my clients wanted it, but I really spent, the majority of my career focused on millennials. I wrote a book on millennials. And the same with my writing, right? So I can't never say never, but I don't imagine a scenario where I would write YA. I write middle grade, which is really for, 7 to 13-year-old girls, because that's my lane. I understand how to write for that reader. And so I think that now for that reader, I might design a line of bedding. I might, I'm working on some product right now, but I'm going to stay in that lane. So I think that it's less about going wide and more about going really, really deep. And really getting to know that customer. So I think you can accommodate a lot of things. I think that that's where that expertise and that whole idea of knowledge being power comes in, to say, I really want to hone in. That's how I feel about women of color who are starting and growing businesses. Right now, I'm really honing in on how to provide them with as many resources as possible.
Right. Now, do you have your client base who are in need of media help? And you're like, I'm not in that lane anymore, really.
Yeah, I'm not. I know, but what's been so interesting though, Mira, is that I am taking on more small businesses and personally consulting with them.
Right.
And it's so helpful for me as I develop products that are kind of going more mass, like a course, right? That can serve thousands of people at once. I still like that personal consulting, but I feel like, my background is as a researcher. I feel like that's my market research now, because it really helps me create products that can serve the masses by working individually with small business. So there's always going to be a part of my practice where I'm still doing that direct consulting, but I've changed the customer. And what I love, I was saying to a friend the other day, when I was in my marketing career, I had these massive Fortune 500 clients, and I never felt like I got to directly do the work. Now I'm just like sitting on my couch making branding boards for my small business. And I was like, I love this. I'm like, boxer with my clients. So, it's been a substantial shift, but I love that direct, connect with the client.
I don't know. I found that I'm actually doing a lot of consulting work in Louisiana. I'm in Texas, but I'm a native of Louisiana. And so there are a lot of great ideas, great businesses that are right on the cusp. And the marketing information that we have and how we're helping women, how to formulate an LLC, how to get business credit, things like that, stuff that they don't know. I get to go in now, and I feel so good about it because I get to go in and I get to give back, give them the opportunity. So I'm loving that aspect and still trying to build my own business. But God keeps giving me all these curveballs, because every time I think, okay, this is what I'm doing, he comes and he gives me something else. I'm like, oh God, okay, you got to slow down, God. Because I'm like, I was just on this week and now you threw something else in the pile. So I like that. And you have your hands in pretty much everything. But the one question I have, you said the middle schoolers, where did that passion come from? Because I have this passion for middle school kids. I used to teach years ago, and I got out of it because I just felt like I had a different kind of space. And especially once my daughter left, I was like, okay, I'm over it and let me go. But I still have a heart for children in that particular area. What was your motivation for doing the book or going and working in that area?
Yeah, so in my marketing career, I was one of the first people who was studying this new consumer called a tween. So remember back in 2007 when tweens were the new thing. And I just was fascinated by, this girl who wasn't yet a teenager, who, girls, first of all, there's just something so fun about girls, right? They're not yet teenagers, and they're developing, their personalities. I have a niece who is 11. So she's, when I started writing, Phoebe wasn't even born, but now it's like she's my customer. So I'm watching her go through this stage, and it's just, I love it. I love her. I'm so tickled by them just kind of figuring out what they like and their style. So I felt like it was a really great opportunity to talk about values and values that matter, and really kind of get to them before they're teenagers. Right. And at the time when I did Mackenzie Blue, the goal was to, encourage girls not to be bullies. Right. And so I felt like you still had that opportunity to get some good messages in there. And I think by the time they're teenagers, they're kind of on their way. They're now charting a different path. And so every aspect of tween girls was just fascinating to me. Seeing them make their first independent, kind of faux independent buying decisions. Watching my niece go into a store with her pocket money to see what she wants to buy, right? It's just interesting to me. I just find girls very fascinating. And I think writing for them, when you're doing it, to me, it's no different than when I was marketing. I was fascinated by millennials too. I really was fascinated by a demographic that was entering the job market in one of the worst economies ever. And we're creating all these opportunities. And so for me, it always starts from a place of curiosity.
Right. No, and you're absolutely correct. I think they're at such a tender age. And I know my daughter and I were having a conversation, and, we were just talking. I was like, well, now that you're in high school, getting ready to graduate, what do you think were your toughest years? And she said, Mom, middle school. That was the toughest time for me, because, you have the bullying going on. You have just you trying to, figure out who you are just as a person, as a little Black girl. How do you move forward? Am I too proper enough? Am I not cool enough? Am I not this enough? So, you go through all of that. And that's when we as women really have to really just kind of, make sure that we're sticking close to them and showing them how to be able to identify what's on the inside and how to get to where, they want to be, introducing them to new things so that they can start brainstorming about maybe this is something I like, something I don't like. You know what I'm saying? That's the time to catch them. High school, it's kind of already at that stage. I mean, not that they can't be groomed, but if you get them in middle school, my God.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think that's a tendency because my daughter's 11. And so watching her go through the phases that she's going through, it's amazing to watch. I mean, it really is to watch them blossom and grow. Mm-hmm. And like you say, and I find it amazing that you decide to write your books in that area, because a lot of people don't focus on, they focus on either the super elementary age or they focus on the high school age. They miss that middle ground. I think a lot of people miss that part. But what made you now move from having the idea of the book, then developing it? What made you get to that point where you're like, I want to get it to the masses?
I think one little known fact about middle grade fiction is that less than 10% of the protagonists or the main characters are characters of color. And so, and particularly Black characters. Mm-hmm. So I thought about for myself growing up, I was a girl who read a book a day in the summer, nothing fancy like Fear Street. I mean, Sweet Valley Twins, but I lived for summer reading. Like I was that girl, like I was beyond devastated when I heard the Beverly Clearly passed away. I was like, oh my gosh, this woman created so many books that were so important to me. And so I just really knew that I couldn't find many girls who looked like me.
Right.
And we keep talking about the importance of representation. I thought, okay, this is something I love. And if I can create more stories that are everyday stories about girls of color, that's what I want to do. And show this multicultural world that girls are growing up in, and give our girls the same opportunities. And by the way, when you do see that 10% that, feature protagonists who are Black girls, it's quite often historical. Right. And if you think about what historical, figures we will be talking about, that puts us in one kind of content area, and I think it's really important for our girls to read about girls doing any and everything and not just focusing a narrative solely on slavery. I remember, my dad.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And my dad used to make us Black history book coloring books. And we were every year, the 6 of us, I have 5 younger siblings, were like, here he comes with these coloring books again. But one coloring book, there was, Madam C.J. Walker. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this woman made $1 million focused on beauty. And I love beauty. So I guess I don't have to because I was the girl and they were like, well, Tina should be a lawyer or a doctor or this. And I was like, no, you can make money liking makeup. That is my dream,
Right.
So there could be a girl who reads about June or reads about, Mackenzie or Z and the Z Files and things like these girls. I can go live at a boarding school. And so, it's just fun. And even if you don't want to go to boarding school, you maybe want to read about a girl who looks like you, who's at boarding school with drama, and so that to me really became the goal, was I can do something about this issue, which is making sure when our girls go into Target, they see girls that look like them.
Yes.
Covers,
Yes. And I think that's what we miss a lot, is they're trying desperately to make us more present. Mm-hmm. And so many things now, as I walk through the stores and I observe, you don't see it. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I went to Walmart one time and then there was a table for Black History Month, a table with, she laughing. It's true. A table sitting in the entrance of the store. And I said to my mother-in-law, these are all the Black history books that are in this store.
Right.
Like, it just shows you that it's not typically Walmart. It's the fact that a lot of us are not taking time out to create things that represent us. So many people that are creating dolls, that represent us. You are creating books that represent us. We're just not making a conscious effort. And I don't know if that's, and I don't want to seem mean or anything, but us as a people, are we making a conscious effort to get ourselves to be seen?
I think it's hard. I think it's really hard, and you have to think about the fact that I had a 24-year, very successful career in another area that gave me the opportunity to do what I'm doing now. You know,
Right.
I wouldn't have had the connections to do what I'm doing now and the
Right.
opportunity. And so it is really, really hard to get a book
Right.
published. You know, that's one thing where, you know, I think I read somewhere that like the average book sells 500 copies. You know, my first series, I sold several 100,000 copies, and it still wasn't as successful as it should have been because
Right.
it just didn't get the attention it should have gotten, you know?
Right.
And so even for us, when we're successful, it's still hard, you know?
Right.
And so I think that that's, you know, now I just feel so grateful that I
Right.
am with partners who are really committed to growth in this area, committed to, you know, diversifying their shelves and their stores, but it
Yes.
takes
Right.
that. I think that, and then also, you know, we can't forget that it is costly to be a creator, right? You need to have
Mhm.
resources to be able to focus on art. You need to be in a place to be inspired, you know,
Right.
and do that. And not everyone gets to do that. And
That's
so,
true.
you know, I think for those of us who are able to do this, it's then how we start to think about, you know, for me, how do I inspire the next generation of writers? What does that look like? And how
Right.
do what resources and tools and opportunities do they need to get their art, you know, to the masses?
Well, and then I think because now, you know, the art programs have been cut so much, you know, a lot of our Black girls and my daughter, you know, have gone through years where I went to an HBCU and I'm like, I feel bad that I feel like I have to send my daughter to an HBCU to really, really hone in on what it is and how awesome it is to be a little Black girl. You know, I learned everything I need to know because I didn't get it in high school. I didn't get it in middle school. We got Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and that was it. Madam C.J. Walker was introduced maybe at some point, but there are awesome people like the Tina Wells, the Amira Bays. You know, I tease people. I say, I am Black history. You know,
That's
I
how
feel
we
like,
have to look at ourselves.
yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, when I think about that, I want to be the example, but I also want my daughter to be exposed by the Amira Bays, the Tina Wells, the Shauna Prices, because I think we women in business, you know, we get on here every Friday and we're talking about, you know, who we are and what we are. But like you said, there's a you know, a group of young women who really need to hear our stories, who really need to, you know how we got to where we are and what strides we're making, and that we too can be successful. How do we reach them? Like you said, at that point, how can we join in what you're doing to put this in schools, to put this in our communities so that our girls can see this?
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things that's so difficult for us is we are still kind of working and still going for our goals, right? Like we're not at the end. And, you know, that was one of the reasons I created Elevation Tribe, because I felt that my girlfriends were still like, we'd love to mentor, but they didn't necessarily have the time for that. And
Right.
that's why with a platform like Elevation, we can get the resources in a place where we can help, right? Because that's the most important thing, is that access to a network. And, you know, we understand that you need access to net worth as well, but the network is so important. And the networking piece is so hard because we're, you know, we have family commitments. We're still trying to grow our own businesses. And so it's a lot. We're asking a lot of ourselves, I think.
Right.
Now, in regards to you, because the benefit with you, as well as I keep hearing, is that you were so well connected in your previous business that kind of gave you the connection to get you to where you needed to be. Because a lot of people don't have those connections.
And by the way,
I want those connections.
I started when I was 16. So that was
networking, you were but see, you already had that foundation after 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You had that foundation already laid. What could you tell others who are wanting to embark and move in that same direction, but don't have the connections? What could you tell them and kind of inspire them to do to get where they need to get? They're wanting to kind of look, she laughing.
It's funny because my friend told me, can you write a course on how you built your tribe? And I'm like in a place now of wanting to kind of like systematize all of these things I know. Because that's the thing. It's like, I want people to understand that if I did it, anybody can do it. You know, I grew up in suburban New Jersey. I didn't come from money. My parents were very hardworking, raised us in very lovely middle-class family. But, you know, we all had to, all my siblings, you know, we all had to earn what we had and work really hard. And so it's not this idea that if I did it, literally anybody can. But I will tell you, for me, I never network on purpose. It's not who I am. You know, I'm very, you know, I started out as a market researcher. So in general, I'm fascinated by people and knowing their stories and where they come from and what motivates them. And, you know, years ago, my friend said this brilliant line that I never forget, you know, you can't make withdrawals where you haven't made deposits. And my issue with networking a lot of times is it is almost like we're forcing ourselves to make a withdrawal where we haven't made a deposit instead of just investing in relationships. And so, you know, I'm really focused. Like if I call you my friend, you're really my friend, and I'll do anything I can to help you. And I take that very seriously. And so I think that too often we say, oh, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend. We kind of collect people.
I agree.
So I'm not in the business of collecting people. And I really take those relationships really seriously. And so it's the simple things I think we forget. When you say you're going to do something, you need to do it.
Yes.
You know, I'm really quite shocked, honestly, by how people don't do things that they said they're going to do. And they think that's okay. Because people remember that, you know, and you have to think about, you know, for me, when I'm working on a project, I'm really focused on who's put their name on the line for this to be successful. And so it really is not about me. It's about when I was in my marketing business, I always thought I want my client to look good to their boss, because everybody's boss, right? And so what can I do to make them look good to their boss? And that was my thought. And so I think a lot of times we have to change how we think about things. And so often we're thinking network, and not do the very best work you can do, you know? And, you know, I think back to one of my favorite projects I got to work on, and it was building the Super Soul 100 for Oprah Winfrey Network. And
which I love, might add, I love
that. I mean, it was extraordinary talent, but my focus was on my clients, on Miss Winfrey's team, and saying they have a vision, and my job is to bring that vision to reality. My job is not to take, I remember they made fun of me because I told my team, nobody is taking a photo with Miss Winfrey. It was just like, we are not here for that. We are here to bring a vision to life for our clients, who are the team at the network, you know, and be really specific around that. And so, you know, I really pride myself on, you know, taking the needs of my clients so seriously. I sometimes I'm on the phone with my clients and they say, are you still there? I said, yes, I'm listening to you. That's my job, is to listen to what your needs are, to anticipate them and to make sure I'm of service. And so I think a lot of times some of us go into the service business and we're not really there to be of service to people. And so we wonder why we're not growing our networks and why people are referring us. You know, I never had to sell my business to people. 99% of my business was inbound from friends saying, you need to hire Tina. You know, even getting the call to work with OWN. A friend had gone in to pitch them, and they said, we're looking for something similar to this list I had just built for another client. And he called and said, here, it's already set up for you. So a friend even did that for me. And so I think it really speaks to how important, like I take it, again, I have 5 younger siblings. So my parents, you know, probably started me on that train of like, tribe very early. And so I think my biggest piece of advice to everyone is nurture the people you have. And if you do that, that's always going to kind of get you to the next step. But what I find where people make mistakes is they don't nurture their people now, and they think that there's like better people. There are no better people. You know, I always remember, I would say, you know, the most important person ever in my client relationships was always the assistant to the person I was working for. How and how we treat that person is so important, right? Because they're going to get you, if I need 15 minutes of the CMO's time, that's the person to get me that 15 minutes, you know?
Listen, hey, Tina.
Hi. She's over there having
having fits, girl. She been trying to get to you. I'm like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I was like, she was chopping
Because
at the bit, like, okay, God.
It's so good
Yeah.
to like hear somebody literally speaking my language,
Yes.
right? Because people do have to understand that. People have to understand that. I say that all the time. Like the way you treat your current network, your current relationships, is how
Right.
you're going to treat new people.
Yes.
So you have to. There has to be cultivation. There has to be building. There has to be, like, I always say, if I rock with you, I rock with you, right? But that, like, you were like all the way. I was having a real fit, like,
yeah, I saw it
because it was like music to my ears. Because sometimes we just don't consider that relationships. It's more. It's not wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It's
right.
It's you have to build them. They don't start like, they don't happen overnight.
Right.
There has to be some type of like today, y'all. Today I had to go. Y'all had a refresh day. Had a refresh day.
Yeah.
And so, but the girl who is I call her my esthetician because she does nails. She's an esthetician, so she's an esthetician, right? But I've had a relationship with her since I was 5.
Right.
Right. So like, unlike some of her other appointments, what my appointment looks like is we do the work and we go eat afterwards. We have lunch afterwards. We continue to, it's not just,
right.
I'm paying for a service and I appreciate it and I'm gone. And then like the whole, what you were saying about talk to the assistant, it's funny because I always say, if I am friends, if I want to meet Oprah, right? And I'm cool with Gail, I'm not gonna bypass Gail.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right.
When Gail is her homegirl, right?
Right.
Like, but you still have to develop the relationship. So I almost want to hug you. Like,
I'm serious. It's almost like we wish we could do that.
But see, that's the thing about it, y'all, is that's relationship building. It's not, like you said, it's not a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I have to get to know you. And a lot of times when you build those relationships, people remember you. It's almost like, yes, I know somebody who's perfect for that.
Right.
Because they always have you in the forefront of their mind when something comes about. Because people don't ever think about it. They're like, how did you think about me? Well, we were having this conversation during lunch, girl. We called up, we were conversating, and it really resonated with me. And so when this opportunity presented itself, I was like, oh, Tina be perfect.
Right.
Right.
And that's what
and why not champion her?
That's right.
Yeah.
Why not champion the person that the friend that the person, because like, I love to hear people say, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. I believe that. Right. But I don't think that people understand know, like, and trust sometimes, right? That's part of people miss, right? Because it does. It's a lot that goes into like genuinely being able to like not just build the relationship, but execute it, manage it, right?
Right.
Have real relationship. Girl, I'm telling you, Tina, you was all up my alley just
now.
That's the whole business over here.
Let me ask this though, Tina. One thing I can say, and I heard this on TikTok, and it was amazing because I have to really stay off TikTok, y'all, because I love it that much. But here's the thing: I heard a guy one night, and I really want Tina's take on this. He said, the TikTok was funny. It started off real funny, but he said, so you're mad that we don't support Black businesses. He said, but I can tell you why. He said, we don't support Black businesses. He said, because you are never on time. He said, you don't provide good customer service. I can never reach you. And I said, it was funny, but I heard what he said. So what's interesting about that is that I think when we get in business, a lot of times we get the big head, so to speak, and we feel like we're there for, I'm in business, you need me. No, the truth is we need our customers. And I think we fail to remember that we do need our customers, because that's how we're going to make money, how we're going to thrive. Do you think that that's pretty much a mindset, and how can we change it in business, especially Black businesses?
I think it absolutely is. It's funny. Anyone who worked for me during my agency days, I often joke I was a dictator, and it's 100% true, but I was obsessed with delivering the very best for our clients. So no, we do not show up to a call 5 minutes late. I was just, I'm not going to name names, but I hired someone and to do some media work, and everybody was jumping on the call 15 minutes late. I just wanted to hop on. And I thought, what in the world is this nonsense? No, you don't just want to hop on. We have a scheduled time every week. So this is not a drop by. This is, you need to be on the call 5 minutes before I show up as your client. You need to be prepared. You need to not waste my time. This does not need to feel like everybody is just figuring out what we're talking about. And that's the reality, is we have to stop that nonsense. And that nonsense is never part of my business ever. And I definitely get that from my mom. I told you guys before I got on about her doing her final walkthrough to my house. I was like, Mom, my house, and calling me with like, I don't think she's ready for this. It's like, I'm on it, Mom. It's that's who raised me. But I just think sometimes I sometimes use the phrase playing business. Like, we need to stop playing business. And I often said, to people, nobody asked me to start a company. Nobody asked me to start companies. It is a privilege to have a business and to be in service to other people.
Exactly.
And every time someone would commit any amount of money to me and my business, that's my privilege to provide that work.
I agree.
So I cannot be late, because that is your time. There's nothing, honestly, that would really set me off more than if I'm late, I am done for the day. Like, I cannot, it's just, I value people's time so much, and I promise, like, my commitment is I'm going to show up on time, but that you need to show up on time. And that also means that this meeting that is set for 45 minutes or whatever, it's going to take 45 minutes. It's not going to take an hour and a half. And so I think we have to do a really, a much better job of kind of managing expectations for clients. We need to always, I love the idea of under promise and over deliver. That was our brand. And that's what leads to people referring you. Because again, it goes back to what I said. Everybody has a boss, and they're bringing you in to look good, and they're not putting their job on the line for you. And too often, I don't know where this idea comes from. Maybe we're a little too casual, but you can't that way when you're, you have to remember that running a business is a privilege.
Yes,
It doesn't mean it's not tough for us, but every day that I'm able to get up, work for myself, build businesses and products that provide for other people, it's my privilege. And I still have to approach that. And so I think there's sometimes like a mindset shift that needs to happen around how we're approaching business.
Exactly. That's a mouthful. And that was my thought about it. I don't want to, be flagged into the, oh, girl, it's Black people, so they always gonna be late, it's CPT time. We live under those, umbrellas, and I really want to provide that. It doesn't matter the color of my skin. I want to give you excellence in my business. I just taught that this week for leadership training for managers. We want to get away from 48-hour turnaround. I'm like, we're servicing our client. What do you mean 2 days and I'm just getting back to you? 24 hours, that's all you're getting. And so they were like, because there has to be a sense of urgency. I feel when we're providing a service and your name, your brand, who you are is on the line. So I agree with that. I just really wanted your take on that.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, is that we just have to kind of figure out where we stand in our business, and we have to hold ourselves accountable. And I think a lot of times we don't do that. We hold others accountable. You know how that works, y'all. We want to hold other people accountable, but then when it comes to us and our businesses, we don't hold the same, we can't hold it to ourselves as well, but we have to be accountable, because your business is being represented. People are observing you at all times. And like you said, your employees don't understand the magnitude of what you have to do in holding that business accountable. They think I'm going to work, my boss, no, it don't work that way. Because you are a reflection of me. And people a lot of employees don't think that way, is that when I hire you and you do something wrong or underrepresent me, then they look at me. They're going to be looking at you. Like, okay, I'm not looking at them anymore. I'm looking at you because I hired you to do a job. And so that's what we have to really look at as running our businesses. And we always want to say we are a CEO. You need to run that thing. They need to understand that you're running that thing as a CEO. And if you feel like I'm micromanaging you,
I might be.
by telling, see, there you go.
Yeah, but no, I think to your point there, when we like, here's what I've learned about micromanaging. It's just the wrong people. You know,
Yes.
I have just the most amazing team now. And what I love is everybody is complimenting everybody else on the team. I said, what I really had to learn was hiring for skill set and not hiring people who were so thrilled to work for me. You know, I read about you in Essence, I'm thrilled. I want you to be so excited to do the work that you do, whatever that is. So if you are a research analyst, I cannot sustain you. That's not my job. That's not what I want. My job is to provide vision and to provide resources, right? But people that I work with now, they're just so motivated by their joy of the work that they're doing. So if they're an illustrator, they love to illustrate. I am not their inspiration. Now, my characters, the stories, the vision I have might be inspiring, but they do not get up to be of service to Tina Wells every day. And anyone who thinks that that is ideal, you're crazy. Like that is not what we want, right? The people I work with are, I don't care if they design Instagram posts all day, they're the most beautiful you've ever seen. And that's what they get up and love to do. And that has been something I've had to learn over the years. And it weighed me down a lot in my early 30s, you know, when I had, you know, I was so visible and I'm a very introverted person who, as I said, I was so laser focused on how do I get the client the very best work. So I really wasn't interested in being in this magazine and that magazine. It's like, I remember once I was doing this shoot for Essence and I think I was 20 years old at the time. And I said, I just have got to get back to work, right? I was like, the photo, because I know, like, I was not into any of it. And I was like, I know this is the most amazing publication ever, but I got to go talk to my client, you know? And that it's always been my focus, you know?
I like that.
That's phenomenal to have that mindset because you're about the business.
Yeah.
It's all right to get the accolades of, I want you in my magazine. I want to have you here. That's wonderful. Now, okay, take the photo. Okay, let's go.
Can you imagine? You're in every magazine. We see people, they have no business because they're not tending to the people who provide for that. And so, you know, I've really had to really learn about how I hire, making very, you know, clear hiring around skill sets. I think so often we sometimes think people are going to like grow into a certain job and yes, there's obviously opportunity. I, you know, often when I start with the agency, I get a lot of people who are fresh out of college. So it was their first stop. That means all the mistakes are made, but that means that there's such an incredible opportunity to teach so much, you know? And so I really love those opportunities and those teachable moments, but you still have to have a desire for the specific thing, you know, and that's what I learned the most is I can't motivate you to be, you know, motivated in a certain area, you know,
I agree.
I can provide you with resources. I can provide you with a vision of where my train is moving, you know, that's my job.
Oh, I agree.
Not to mention though, it also allows them to think on a level of, you know, how can I better benefit the company? How can I be more of an asset? How can I, you know, think like a CEO or whatever the case may be? Autonomy kind of gives that breath of fresh air as opposed to like micromanaging, gives that breath of fresh air to say, how can I make this great, you know, in what I do that I love? So I think
I mean, think about it like this. College applications now are looking to see what type of community activities young students have been in, right? So they want to know that, hey, what types of things have you done? And my daughter's like, why does that even matter? I said, because here's the thing. They're thinking futuristic in that, how is this person going to be an asset to our organization, our institution? And I said, when I hire people, I ask them, I don't get just the regular questions about, you know, tell me about a time of weakness, because, you know, I'm not going to really probably get their sincere answer, but I always want to know, tell me about your opportunities to shine in leadership opportunity. When have you taken the initiative? Tell me anything about you've done in leadership. So when they tell me nothing and you've been working for 12 years and there's not been one opportunity that you've been in leadership, then that tells me that you've not taken initiative, because you can be in one particular position and you can still assume leadership potential in traits. And when I ask that question and they can't find one, I'm usually, because I need you to be aggressive when I need you to be aggressive. I need you to be motivated. And that means if I have to hold your hand through it all, then I'm going to have difficulty here, because that I don't have time for that. I need to see what you have already in you. And even if it's not to the fullest potential, I got something to work with. I want to know I got something to work with and I can get you to where you need to be, but I need to see that you're fighting and you're ready and you're just waiting for me to give you this opportunity and you run with it. That's what I'm looking for. So I love opportunities like that too. I want somebody that's ready to go. No holding hand. I don't hold my baby hand. She's 16. I don't do
I think that's the thing about it. But I mean, Tina, but the thing about it is at this point where you are, because you're going to be launching a new book this summer. You're going to be launching this new book. Now, what is the difference in the current book and the new book?
So in the Z Files, it's funny. Do I have my books here on my little desk? Yeah, we've been doing covers. So I've been looking at the other ones. So these are the current books that are in Target. This one has a new only at Target. So Z is obviously,
and I went looking for it just to let you know, Tina, and I couldn't find it. I went to 2 Targets. They didn't have them. They were out.
Yay. I'm sorry.
Good.
And I'm trying to get the book. Because I'm emotional, but it's okay. I'm gonna try another Target, but I'm gonna try another one. I mean, but the thing about it is I was trying to find one. Even today, I was trying to find one because I wanted my daughter, she was wanting a new book to read.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is great. And she's like, Mom, we can't find it.
Oh, Tina said a good thing.
Okay.
You want me to check my Target?
Huh?
You want me to check my Target?
I was visiting my parents earlier this week, so I saw them there, but to answer your question, so, the Z Files is very multicultural. Honest June, the entire cast is Black. And so I thought it was really, really important to, create something that really spoke to Black girls and to the power of Black girl relationships too, and right. So June with her 2 best friends, Olive and Nia, and just this town that I created called Featherston Creek. My grandfather's middle name is Featherston, and so I created this kind of Black utopia in Georgia where June is growing up. The daughter of a doctor and a lawyer, and right. She's a quirky, creative kid. But the kind of hook with Honest June is that she's blessed with the ability to never tell a lie. And so she's got this fairy godmother who pops up, and it's about how she survives middle school, not being able to tell even the slightest little lie. And so
that's creative.
It's certainly fun. And Steph and I had a lot of fun writing it. And it's very different. I mean, the Z Files is very much like a girls coming of age type series, and it's obviously aspirational, right? You've got a girl who, whose mom is biracial, her father's white, the family moves from California to London. Z ends up at a boarding school in the Cotswolds with, very diverse cast of characters. And so that just, to me, Z Files is just light fun. My girls, the same character from the Mackenzie Blue series, moms would often tell me their girls read the book in one day. And so it's very fun. Honest June is totally different, right? Honest June is also for a little bit younger of a reader, 7 to 12. So a very traditional middle grade reader, where the Z Files is a little bit older. I would say that reader is probably 10 to 13. So they're slightly different, but both very situational. Same writing partner, collaborator, Stephanie Smith, on both series. And so I'm starting to work on my 3rd series that I'm super excited about. And that one is about a group of girls who meet in a sewing and needle arts class and become a tight knit group of friends. And I'm calling it the Stitch Click. And so that one I'm just starting on. So I got to do a lot of setup.
Now, how are you going to keep track of all three of these books?
I'm like, whoa.
I have so many more, you know, it reminds me of my agency days. You know, in the agency world, you have tons of clients and every client's got, you know, their brand elements. You got to keep them all straight. And so it reminds me of getting to do that. But again, that's the power of a great team, right? That I set these up and the publishing team does their job and Target does their job and everybody is, you know, doing what they need to do to keep all of this going. And I have my job these days is approvals. So I got to make sure that I stay on top of approving everything. But yeah, the actual setup and, you know, for every series, I come up with every book idea. So that's kind of my stamp. And obviously I have to have writing help at this stage with all these books, but you know, the actual idea of what happens in the new book is great. And, you know, the Z Files will have 6 original titles at least. And so 2 are published, a new one is coming in June, a new one in November, and then 2 more books coming next year. So I just wrote the idea for the 5th book. I have not written the idea for the 6th book yet. So we'll see. I need to get back to traveling because I come up with a lot of book ideas when I travel. So
okay, that was getting ready to be my question. Like, where is the inspiration? Like the whole thought process, your grandfather's name being the city and all of that. Like, when are you just sitting and saying, does it hit you like a light bulb or?
Yeah, I mean, that it was funny when I started talking about when I wrote the course, the elevation approach. What was so interesting when I talked about the recreation phase, I said, this is where I get all my big ideas. So if I wanted to give people kind of a blueprint to how I do what I do, that's where it was a big aha moment for me. And that's what was really missing in my life last year, right? You know, I travel 100,000 miles a year. You know, I remember I was on like a wellness trip to London a couple years ago when I got the idea for the Z Files, which was originally as a TV show. It just so happened that particular weekend, I went to a Soho farmhouse. Wow. And I thought, so when I came back and started writing the series, I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a boarding school out there in the Cotswolds, in the wild. And so, you know, I really missed traveling because that really helps kind of just spark creativity. And, you know, for me, it's not like, I don't read a lot of other middle grade titles. I'm obviously aware of them. I look at the aisles. I think having a partner like Target, the best advice I ever got from them was go into the store, look at what we're selling, look at how it's merchandised. And so when I created all the branding, obviously my background in marketing made it easy to get the right partners on board to create the look of that series. And I'm very fortunate that I had a lot more creative control with that project, that I was able to do that. So yeah, my marketing background is obviously popping up, but yeah, it's just the storylines and thinking about, you know, I heavily lean on my background as a market researcher. You know, when I think about the Z Files, it's like, why boarding school? Again, we talk about my girl, right? She's at the age where she's not independent from her parents. So what's most interesting is faux dependence, right? This faux independence. So this idea of this girl being at boarding school creates this idea of escapism of like, my mom's really on my nerves. I wish I could be like Z and live away. Right. So that's kind of how I come up with those ideas. Like what's most independent, like important to the girl at this stage.
Oh, I think that's so cool. I'm going to get my baby a book too.
Me too.
She needs like a new read. And I always want her to have something that kind of relates to like who she is as a little Black girl. And she's 9, but she reads really well. So we're going to go get some books.
Yeah. I'm telling you, see, I mean, that's
it down.
We need to, you know, and I hate to say this a lot of times, is that books that's relatable is the ones that we should be getting that our girls can relate to.
Yeah.
You always want to say, oh, go read a book, you know, oh, go, you didn't have a paper say, oh, go read a book. But going to the store and actually finding a book that's tailored to her, where it's relatable. But I was like, we're going to get Tina's books because I think her collection is for you. And a lot of us as parents, we don't think about that. We don't think, oh, well, this particular author really is geared towards your age and some of the things that you're battling.
Right.
Me just handing you just a random book.
Yeah.
To say, oh, it's fiction or it's nonfiction, just read it.
Right.
You know, I want to know that when she's done reading it, it's impacted her on her level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where she has a takeaway where you're like, okay, what did you get from her books? You know, and so everything that you design, Tina, I feel is geared towards my daughter and what she's going through.
Right.
And so then when she reads it, she's like, oh my God, it's a breath of fresh air. It's relatable.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not just buying a book and just saying, oh, it's going to be in the corner covered in dust. She's not going to read it. I know she's going to love this book.
Right. Right.
So I've been to so many Targets looking for the book.
When we get off, that's where I'm going. My niece
I am. Now let me ask you a question. So all of your books, the ones currently, are at Target?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But we can order online?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
then we may have to go online.
Option.
I
mean, like I'll check my Target, but that's definitely an option to be able to go online.
They have such beautiful displays too. So yeah.
See, that's
I love the display.
Yeah, I'm in there. Yeah, we're gonna head out here.
Everybody now, I know we just briefly talked about, let everybody know how they can find you if they are in need of your services, as well as your books. If you can kind of give us a recap of the names of your books, where they can be found and all that.
Yes. So the Z Files is available now exclusively at Target. Yeah. Any other information about me, you can find it at tinawells.com. And if you are starting a business and you want me as your coach, you can get the Elevation Approach course, and that's at elevationtribe.com. So we are closing the course on Monday. So you have until Monday to register, but I'm super excited about it. And yeah, I'm excited to work directly to help people kind of build their businesses too. So it's been great so far, and had it open for a couple weeks, but yeah, Monday, the first class closes.
Oh my gosh.
Man, so, well, you guys better get on then.
After the first class closes, are you running your coaching program like a certain amount of months?
Yeah, well, the first 6 weeks with the first cohort, and then I'll bring it back this fall. So, it's in between the writing too. So I have to make sure got time to focus on the students. And, it's great for me though, to know that the framework is there, and that, I spent, 6 years teaching business at Wharton. I ran a program called Leadership in the Business World. And so it's a lot of my insight, what I've learned from being at Wharton, and then also helping clients launch numerous projects. That's kind of all in this course. So I'm happy it's done in there. And, oftentimes there are people who say, I need your help, but I can't afford an agency. And I'm like, now I have a solution for you, right? It's like, here you go. And it will give you, and it's got workbooks and 160 pages of worksheets. So it really will help people think through every element of going from idea to getting their business launched. Because I think a lot of times that's where it's funny, I made it for my friends who I would tell them I have another book, and they're like, how do you do? I have an idea, I just can't. And I'm like, I am going to come up with a process to help my friends get their ideas out of their head and onto paper and ready to launch in less than 30 days. And so that was my challenge to myself to build the course. So it's been great. And elevationtribe.com is where you can find it.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Awesome. It's been so great to chat with you all. Thank you for having me. It's a great way to start.
I'm telling you hear every time we interview somebody different, somebody new with totally different, and you came completely out of what you did. You're in a whole new space. And I think that's the exciting part.
That's awesome.
Venturing from something that we grew. It was a baby. It grew to wherever it went. And it was time to move on to something different. And you totally went into a totally different lane, but you love what you do.
I love it. And I'm in my 40s now, right? So I think that also shows people that even as a teenager, I had one thing I did, but I found the thing I love in my 40s. So I think that's a good thing for us to know.
That's good to let people know.
I think that's so encouraging.
You don't have to keep doing what you're doing. I mean, if you feel you've been called to do something greater or better than what you're doing, and like you said, now you have a lot more sense of peace.
Yeah.
You can focus
I like that part.
You can focus on you. And I think that's the greatest part, is you've been working for everybody else, and now you can do something.
Finally.
You've been doing phenomenally at it. So I think you're onto something great.
Well, thank you.
She has like that glow of peace on her.
Yes, I
Like,
thought I was the only one who saw it.
No,
you can see it. Like you can tell that
Yes.
she loves it. Her smile is genuine. It's just like, yeah,
It's fun. Yeah, I can't wait. I will have to come back. I don't want to give it away, but I am working on a TV project. So I can't wait to come back and talk to you about that. But I had this idea for a while to go in and help small businesses that are run by women of color. And so I can't wait to talk more about it. But
you gotta keep that on the wraps, y'all.
It's gonna be fun. And I have to come back and talk to you guys about it.
We get so many people with all these secrets about this upcoming stuff. I'm like,
we gonna tell you the next time.
Okay. Gosh. And I'm like, now we gotta see
y'all. And we already probably see it on TV by the time, and I'll be flipping the channel. That's what she was talking about.
She said it.
She said it was coming.
No, I promise. We'll come back to you. I promise.
Okay. We're gonna hold ladies.
All right. Thank you.
I thank everyone. I thank you, Tina, for being a part of the Girlfriends Chit Chat Show tonight. Thank everybody, as always, for being here with us tonight. Hey, we'll return back again on next Friday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch this on live on Hindsight Media Radio Station 103.5 on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us on iHeartRadio as well as Pandora, and we are so elated. We look forward to having you back again, Tina.
Thank you.
And dish all them goodies you got coming down the pipe. So you all have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend, you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, she just hung up.